Most people think survival starts with gear, titanium stoves, carbon fiber tents, $1,000 backpacks packed by someone who's never slept a night without Wi-Fi. Forget all of that. When the world drops dead around you, the only thing you'll have is the trash everyone else stepped over. That's the real survival kit: broken metal, torn plastic, burnt wood, shards of what life used to be. And if that sounds hopeless, good. Hope gets people killed. What keeps you alive is physics, improvisation, and the willingness to do what the gear-obsessed never even consider. So listen closely, because what follows are the brutal survival rules no one tells you. Stripped of fantasy and optimism, carved down to what actually works when society collapses and the world turns feral. Rule 1 begins with fire, because everything begins with fire. Everyone says to buy premium fire starters or fancy waterproof matches. Still, when the rain is horizontal and your hands are shaking so hard you can barely hold anything, you're going to need something better than wishful thinking. Grab the filthiest piece of steel wool you can scavenge, pulled from an abandoned kitchen, scraped from a burnt car, ripped from a trash scrub pad. Pair it with any half-dead battery from a remote toy or rusting flashlight. Touch the terminals, and the wool burns instantly. That's conduction, direct flow of electricity producing heat intense enough to ignite dry fibers. Even in the cold, pack the glowing ember into shredded insulation, paper scraps, or any soft material you've scavenged and coax it into flame. Expensive ferro rods can fail. Trash doesn't. Rule 2 is about water. The thing everyone thinks they can boil easily until they're staring at a soaked wasteland, with no pot, no fuel, and no idea. The trick is to use sunlight as your fire and trash as your lens. Any clear bottle, cracked plastic, dented glass, whatever you find can work as a crude solar concentrator. Fill it with dirty water. Position it so the sun's rays pass through and focus on a dark piece of cloth or charcoal beneath it. That heat spike is convection and radiation working together. Light energy converting to thermal energy and transferring to the surrounding air. The bottle itself won't boil the water inside, but it will create a hot enough spot to ignite tinder, giving you flame without striking anything. And once you have flame, you can pasteurize water in almost anything that holds liquid, including a metal can scrounged from rubble. You don't need a rolling boil, just sustained heat above what pathogens can survive. Rule 3, temperature kills more efficiently than bullets. And you need insulation more than weapons. Forget fancy coats. They tear, soak, and rot. What doesn't rot is air, trapped inside scavenged materials. Stuff crumpled plastic bags inside your clothes. Wrap yourself in torn bubble wrap. Tie together shredded fabric, newspaper, or even duct tape leaves. Insulation doesn't work because of the material itself, it works because of trapped air. Slowing heat loss by conduction. When your body heat can't escape fast enough, you survive. When it does, you're dead. People freeze in expensive parkas because they don't understand the physics. You won't, because you'll build your insulation like armor. Rule 4. Always carry light, not because you're afraid of the dark, but because predators, animal or human, use darkness as cover. You don't need a flashlight. You need reflection. Aluminum cans are everywhere in the ruins of any civilization. Tear one open carefully, flatten the inside, and polish it with dirt or a soft cloth until it reflects light. Then place any tiny flame, a candle stub, burning thread, glowing coal at the focal curve of your improvised reflector. The aluminum redirects and intensifies the light using simple reflection principles. You just created a directional beam that can blind threats, signal allies, or illuminate a path without giving away your exact location. Gear fails. Trash reflects. Rule 5 focuses on food, or rather, the illusion of food scarcity. Everyone tells you to hunt, trap, or fish. They don't tell you that most people starve waiting for a rabbit that never comes. Instead, create a passive system. Scavenge bottles, cans, or broken buckets. Bury them at an angle with the openings slightly above ground. This creates a temperature differential: cooler air trapped inside, warmer air above. Insects, driven by convection currents and shelter instinct, crawl in and can't escape. It sounds disgusting, but insects are protein, fat, and minerals your body needs. Eat them roasted, burn off microbes and moisture. You're not chasing food. You're harvesting physics. Rule 6 deals with shelter. People worship tents, but tents are weak. What you want is a thermal bunker made of junk. Pile dirt against the outside of any remaining structure, half a wall, a collapsed shed, a concrete fragment. Dirt is the perfect survival material, free, dense, and resistant to rapid heat transfer. That's conduction again. Earth doesn't give up its temperature easily. On the inside, line the walls with cardboard, fabric, or layered plastic to slow convection and trap warm air. You've just built a miniature earth berm shelter capable of holding heat or staying cool. Depending on the environment, gear rots, earth endures. Rule 7. Never walk into the wind when you can read it instead. You don't need an electronic detector or weather station to understand air movement. Tie shredded plastic bag strips to sticks, fences, or broken rebar. Watch how they flutter. That dance tells you everything: wind direction, speed, potential weather shifts, and even the movement of nearby threats. Air currents follow convection, warm air rising, cool air dropping, pressure shifting. When the strips suddenly go slack, prepare for stillness, often the warning of an approaching storm or predator moving in the wind. Shadow. You're not just surviving, you're reading the language of the atmosphere. Rule 8. Heat always wins unless you cheat. In blazing environments, or in urban ruins that trap and magnify sunlight, you need to bend physics in your favor. Scavenge anything: reflective foil, metallic bags, mylar scraps, chrome fragments. Create a reflective shield to bounce solar radiation away from your body. It's not shade, it's protection from radiant heat transfer. Combine that with evaporative cooling by wetting your clothes with even the dirtiest water. As it evaporates, it absorbs heat from your skin. That's basic thermodynamics keeping you alive. Forget hydration packs and cooling towels. Trash does it better. Rule 9. Always create sound traps. You don't need alarms. You need warnings. Take empty cans, broken glass, loose nuts and bolts. String them together with salvaged wire or torn fabric strips. Suspend them along entry points between trees, across hallways, around your shelter perimeter. Any disturbance sets them rattling. That's mechanical energy transferred through vibration, and it's life-saving intel. In the collapse, nothing is more valuable than knowing something is coming before it knows you're there. Rule 10. Learn to store fire without burning fuel. Fire storage sounds impossible, but it's not if you use slow-burning concepts. Take a chunk of charcoal from any burnt structure. Wrap it in dry cloth, pack it inside ash, and place it in a metal can. Charcoal holds embers for hours because it limits oxygen and reduces heat loss by convection. When you need fire again, blow on it. The ember wakes up. This trick saves energy, saves resources, and saves your life when everything is wet or frozen. Rule 11. Purify air in the simplest way possible. You don't need industrial filters. You need layers. Scavenge fabric, charcoal dust, and any fine mesh you can find, broken screens, wire nets, even shredded aluminum. Air filtration relies on physical obstruction and adsorption. Particles collide with irregular surfaces and get trapped. Charcoal absorbs chemical vapors. Stack your layers inside a container you breathe through. It won't protect you from everything, but it will buy you time when smoke, dust, or debris fills the air. Rule 12. Always carry a signal that doesn't rely on power. Sound travels. Use metal. Any piece of bent steel, pipe, or rod becomes a resonator. Strike it with another metal object, and the vibration carries far. Dense objects transmit sound waves efficiently through the air. This isn't a cry for help. It's a tool for coordination, distance communication, and threat deterrence. Rule 13. Pressure and leverage replace tools you don't have. Need to cut metal? Don't waste energy sawing with junk blades. Score the metal repeatedly with a rock or broken ceramic, then bend it along the line. Metal fatigues under repeated stress. That's simple material science. Need to open a sealed container? Use thermal expansion. Heat the lid with flame, cool the body with water. The differential causes expansion and contraction that breaks the seal. No tools, just physics and patience. Rule 14. Build a heat trap for cooking with nothing but ruins. Find the walls, rocks, or debris piles that form a narrow channel. Place your fuel at one end, your pot substitute a metal can, bent tray at the other. The channel funnels hot air upward through convection, amplifying temperature without using extra fuel. It's the same principle ancient civilizations used to cook with almost no wood. You're not reinventing anything, you're reusing the world that collapsed around you. And Rule 15, the one no one ever wants to hear. Trust nothing but your brain. Not your gear, not your shelter, not the fantasy that rescuers are coming. Survival is the art of staying one step ahead of entropy by bending science, trash, and instinct to your will. The world will not help you, but the ruins of the world contain everything you need if you know how to see it. Mind over gear, resourcefulness over fear, curiosity over panic. That's the difference between surviving the collapse and becoming another silent shape in the wreckage. If you want more ruthless, unfiltered survival truth without the sugarcoating, you know where to go. Subscribe to the Grid Manual and stay awake, because the world is unforgiving and physics doesn't care whether you live or die.